Hey YouTube, welcome back to Nathan's Supra. We're going to be continuing with the teardown of the 7M. One thing I didn't show is I've been sorting these into boxes. I'll show you each of the boxes. They're in different spots. Kind of labeling them based off of where they come from on the engine. And so I'm hoping that will help me in reassembly later on. I'm not planning to put this engine back together until this summer. And yeah, it's currently March. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little while. I'm also going to be, getting it cleaned and machined and all that good stuff. And so I need to make sure that I'm able to find the parts I need and know approximately where the parts go. I don't necessarily need to know every detail of that immediately, but I want to know at least where the parts go. All right, so today we're going to be taking off the head. In addition to the box, I've also got this thing here. It's advertised to be able to be used to place parts of the head on it. So we'll test it out, see how it does with the 7M specifically. All right, so here's the first thing that actually set me off to I think that this engine was worked on a significant amount before. And that is the bolts holding this valve cover gasket on. On that car, as well as other 7Ms that I've seen, the valve cover gaskets are held on with screws that have either a Phillips head or a flathead, like screwdriver type head. Whereas these are all bolts with an 8mm that require an 8mm socket. Yeah, so now I actually prefer the sockets. I think that they're better, and like even if the bolt freezes up, I think a socket comes off a lot easier than, or is able to be torqued off a lot easier than a screwdriver. But yeah, it's just something that has been changed. So, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each of the two main valve cover gaskets. And I actually took one off and put it on that car because I ended up I needed to replace the valve cover gasket, and to do that or when I did that, I lost one of the bolts, so I actually stole a bolt from this. When I put this back on, I'll steal that bolt back. They're really not on there very tight, which is by design. They're not meant to be super tight on here. I don't have impact sockets that go this small, otherwise I would use my impact driver, and obviously that makes it a lot faster. Alright, let's take the first valve cover gasket off. Okay, wow. This camshaft looks really, really good. I actually kind of wonder if it's new. Yeah, let me show you this camshaft. Yeah, that is what you want a camshaft to look like, is that. There's no smudges. I mean, I haven't taken these caps off yet, so that could be different. But just like the lobes, these are very good looking lobes. I mean, I'll turn the engine after I get the other one off, I'll be able to see them a little better. But yeah, this camshaft looks brand new. I didn't hit record for a few, and well, I found a better way. This impact driver, I've got a 5/16 socket on it, and it actually works to get these off. So I'm going to use this the rest of the way. Again, brand new crankshaft. Let's go ahead and turn it and look at it. Yeah, I don't see any evidence of oil starvation on this crankshaft. It looks very good, or both these crankshafts look very good. I was also looking to see if maybe it was BC on them, because Brian Crowler makes an aftermarket set of these, and I don't see that. So this isn't an aftermarket set, but still great shape. Yeah, I think I could definitely reuse these without any worry at all. All right, next we're gonna remove the I believe it's actually called camshaft cover number 3 in the manual, but it's basically the cover that goes over the spark plugs. To do that, you're gonna need a 14mm hex socket. If you have a 14mm hex, it's probably, you may not have enough like torque to be able to turn it. I have also seen people use a bolt with a 14mm head and turn it with that. Personally, I found, since I went ahead and just bought a kit that had a 14mm hex socket in it, and I've used it plenty. So yeah, I'd say it's worth it. So for some reason these are always on really tight. I don't really know why. I do think that where these connect has a habit of leaking. I took them out of that car and they were covered in Teflon tape. Like somebody, yeah, and so yeah, I kind of wonder if these tend to leak some, and so people super tighten them and put Teflon tape on them. Oh man. There's the number 3 gasket, or number 3 head cover. Thought I'd show you. So actually looking at this head, I actually wonder if the head itself might be brand new and it came with these camshafts in it. Now it is pretty dirty. I did my best to clean it up beforehand, but you can see like I still got some crud in there. But that is the beautiful thing about an engine rebuild, is it doesn't matter where it goes. I'm going to be taking it all out eventually. So yeah, so hopefully, in fact, I might just grab a vacuum and suck all that out now that I look at it, because I think that's going to make it a bit of a pain to get the spark plugs out. All right, so I vacuumed all the dirt and stuff out of there, and now I got my spark plug socket. It's a little rusty, but the boot on the inside is still good, and the socket itself is still fine. So let's look at these spark plugs. Okay. Spark plug number 1 looks pretty good. These are NGK brand. Okay, so spark plug number 2 has some oil in there, it looks like. Yeah, I don't think that was picked up as I took it out. Looks like there's oil in there. But other than that, it doesn't look terrible. Oil on the spark plug is indicative of either, well, that was tight, either blown head gasket or piston rings. This one has a lot of oil on it. Yeah, this one definitely had some issues. This one, there's crud on there. There we go. All right, I'm gonna skip number 4 for now. I'm not getting a good grip on it. I might need to vacuum it more. I understand I'm using a pretty small wrench for these, but honestly the wrench should be long enough to break these loose pretty easily. They're not supposed to be on there very tight. That one looks pretty good. It's got some of the debris that was around it on there, but other than that, it looks good. Yeah, again, number 6 has a bunch of debris around it, but the threads and the spark plug itself look good. And this one has some oil on it too. So let's go look at the actual plugs here. All right, so here's the spark plugs. This one is number 1. Might not be able to tell it very well anymore. The oil might have come off, but basically 2, 3, and 4 all had oil on them. To me, that sounds like this engine probably suffered from a blown head gasket. If it, more than likely, you know, you could get multiple piston rings failing at the same time, but especially because they're close together, the most likely issue is a blown head gasket. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drain the coolant, if there is any coolant in there. To do that, you just gotta pop this guy off. It's a 14mm socket. And now we'll tip it. All right, so we're gonna do a leak down pressure test. I have the first cylinder set to, should be at least, top dead center. And I'm gonna start with the first one, and then I'm gonna do 4 and 5 because those spark plugs came out looking pretty good, and then I'm gonna leave the ones that looked worse for last. Okay, we'll see how this looks. Okay. So we're losing some, but we're at about 20. It's only 20% loss. Okay, we're still in the green on this one. Looks pretty good. I can hear something, but I can't really tell exactly where it's coming from. So, like, I don't feel any pressure. So, but yeah, I mean, 20% loss is very good. So I'd say that's pretty good. All right. So the way I find top dead center is I put this in, and with both camshaft covers off, I can see exactly where the lobes are. So I just move this until it's all the way up, and both lobes are not pushing on the valves. Looks pretty good. I'm also doing this. I'm doing this during the day because my compressor is very loud, and doing it at night, needing the air, I would definitely wake people up. So, just for what it's worth, this is currently well over the set point. It's not ideal. I don't know if I can turn it down or not, but I should still be able to get. I'm guessing that the ones that are good are really good, and the ones that are bad are really bad on this engine. So, okay, and actually, all right, we're in the yellow on this one. So this one has some leakage. Let's see if I can. All right, I feel like a vacuum coming from this coolant line right here. So, yeah, that's interesting. So that one has more leakage, but it's still not terrible. If I had to guess, I would say that this head gasket is blown, and it's particularly blown 2, 3, and 4, and part of 5. But we'll see. Maybe we'll see. We'll probably really see a lot of action when we get to those 3 pistons. Okay. Make sure my air or the supply is set back where it needs to be. Oh, I feel a lot. Okay. There's a lot lost on this one. Okay, the exhaust valve is leaking. Okay. So that one was moving into the red. Here, let me show you. So that one's in the red. That one's real bad. That has a leaky exhaust valve. I felt all the air coming right out, or no, not an exhaust valve, a leaky intake valve. I felt all the air coming out of the intake right here. So I'm gonna have to fix that. It's honestly kind of disappointing with how new the rest of this head looks. but that's the way it is sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start with number 2 of the, you know, okay, got our pressure in a good spot still. Let's see what happens. Okay. There's a leaky exhaust valve on this one too. Or intake valve. Okay. So yeah, we got red, and I feel the air coming out of the intake port. Nothing out of the coolant, surprisingly. Or not, yeah, no blowing by in the coolant. No, and definitely nothing past the piston rings. There's a hole right here. That's why I keep reaching down here. There's a hole right here I can feel. That's where I can see one of the rods. And so I'm not feeling any air coming out of the piston, going through the piston rings on this either. So we have, I need a little more. Can I get a little more? Not able to get a little more, but that's okay. I'm close enough. It's in the blue. It should be fine. All right, so we're gonna try piston number 3. Okay, piston number 3 is actually holding air. It is leaking through the intake port, like the others are. I feel a vacuum on some of the on one of the coolant lines right here, but it's not that bad. Well, actually, no, it's not. No way. But that's all I've got is I've got blow by from the intake. So that's interesting. Yeah, this needs a valve job. The air is a little bit low. It's right on the green. I would have to turn my compressor on to pump it back up, and like I told you guys before, my compressor is really loud, and my kids are watching TV in the other room. So I'm gonna just see. I think I'm gonna be able to get a good enough reading from this. So. Okay, it's holding. It's not leaking out the intake valve. So that's interesting. Okay, this one's actually good. Despite the fact that the piston was in bad shape. Yeah, this one's actually in really good shape. So that is very interesting. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. All right, so that's interesting. These engines are known to have head gasket issues, but as far as I can tell, the head gasket on this engine is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It appears that what's wrong is some intake valves. Now, some things that make that especially interesting are, one, the fact that this head does look to be brand new, and two, why would a bunch of intake valves randomly fail? From what I can tell, the ones that have failed are 6 and number 2. I didn't get any others that had intake valve issues. As well, I don't have an answer to why I have oil, or I had so much oil on spark plugs 2, 3, and 4. That doesn't explain that. So this engine might have more than one issue. It might be more than one thing going on with it. But that's okay. Those are actually both relatively good problems to be having at this stage in the game, to be honest with you. Yeah. So yeah, I might have to kind of think about this a little bit, and how it could be that leaky intake valves could lead to oil being in the cylinders. Because that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to continue tearing down this head, and I'll continue videoing it for you guys. All right. Let's go. All right, before I get to tearing it apart anymore, I wanted to kind of just spend a little time sharing what I think is wrong with this engine. You guys can share your perspective. I will be doing a lot of measuring and that kind of thing. The service manual has all of the measurements that you need to ensure that this is working the way it's supposed to, and so I will be doing that. um, and so yeah, so here's kind of the conditions that I have seen with this particular engine, right? So first off, when I removed the spark plugs, 3 of them were full of oil and crud. And then the other issue is um, on pistons 2 and okay, I might be remembering wrong, but 2, 3, and 6, I believe. The leak down test, the intake valves, there was air coming out of the intake valves. Okay. Now, I had said, oh, I think I might feel a little vacuum coming out of the coolant, and I was tapping right here. This actually is, correct me if I'm wrong, I actually think this might be the PCV, or for the PCV system. So I was incorrect. I don't believe this is actually coolant. I did tap on this a few times, and this is for sure coolant. This is definitely coolant. Like these two are definitely coolant. And I never felt anything coming out of there. And as well, I was just saying I thought I was feeling a vacuum here, which wouldn't make any sense. And honestly, it was not very much. Honestly, yeah, touching it here, like that could be about how much I was feeling when I was tapping and saying, hey, I thought I felt a vacuum. It was just a very, very small, like, thing. Um, as well with, I believe, piston 3, I lost a lot of air, but I wasn't really able to tell where from. So, yeah, was it piston 3? Maybe it was piston 5. One of them, it went into the yellow. Okay, so it wasn't like totally shot, but it was like kind of in a concerning area. Um, and so, yeah, that honestly could be just blow by with the piston rings. Um, yeah, and so my guess is that I have some valve seats or valve stems, or not the stems, but actual valves that are not seating properly, that may be damaged and aren't seating properly. This is not an interference engine, so you wouldn't expect the pistons to hit the valves ever. Um, yeah, and so I think that's probably what's causing some issues. It could also be, I don't totally know a ton about how lash work, or like how adjusting valve lash on these work. Um, and that is something I definitely plan to learn as I do this, because I'm definitely going to want to make sure the valve lash is where it should be. Um, but I almost even wonder if there's adjustment that needs to be done there, or some adjustment was not done properly, and could be causing like the uh, the valves to not be closing all the way. Valve lash generally more has to do with opening, but in theory, I think that it is able to, like, yeah, I think that it is technically possible for you to do it wrong and cause it to stay open. The other issue is what I said at the beginning. The spark plugs had oil on them. Um, the thing is, I think I have to say that that's probably from something external. One thing is, if we look at um, the valve cover, it had this little blue thing on there. So this is where the valve or PCV like exit is. And so this one had this little blue thing. The other one had like a little filter set looking thing on there. And I wonder if they had something on the PCV system. Probably not like a catch can or something, But I wonder if there was something that they put on the PCV system that was not allowing the proper amount of pressure release for the PCV system, and so the oil effectively was going through the path of least resistance, and maybe that was through a spark plug. These spark plugs don't have gaskets on them, so although no, it couldn't have been a spark plug, because yeah, that wouldn't have worked for it to be a spark plug, because the spark plug system is totally separate from the rest of the system. Never mind, ignore that I just said. But yeah, I wonder if maybe it went through a valve. Honestly, even I don't know what the sealing is between the camshafts and the valves. So I wonder if the PCV system was high and was actually blowing oil through those valves, except they weren't well, it wasn't the valves that were leaking, but that's okay. Yeah, I was blowing oil through some of the valves. The other thing is, this is a turbo car, and the lubrication system does lubricate the turbo, and so it could be that there was oil going, like leaking in the turbo into the air system, and that would absolutely cause oil to show up in the pistons. And so and maybe for some of them it just didn't catch on the spark plugs or something. I don't know. We'll see if we learn anything else as we tear it apart. That's all speculation. You guys can give me your theories in the comments. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is take off the timing belt. To do that, I need to take this timing belt pulley off, and that is going to be a 14mm bolt right there. This one does look to be in very good shape, however I do have a replacement for it. Okay, yeah, I do. Okay, so there's this spring right here, and I'm going to need to pull that guy out, hopefully without losing it too badly or breaking anything. Okay, just going to kind of leave it right there. Alright, so now with this pulley loosened, this belt, yeah, just kind of slides right off. So that's nice. Alright. Okay, so now I need to remove these cam gears. To do that, I'm going to need to grab these. Alright, I'm going to need a wrench to grab those. Let's see. So, 27mm wrench. This is a 22, and it is not big enough to grab onto this here, but 27 is big enough to get this, which you can't really move that much, but it can also kind of move this if you're sneaky about it. And so so we'll hold it with that. So this bolt uses a 14mm socket. That gear comes right off, nice and easy. Should be the same. All right. Second cam gear's off. Alright, so next I need to loosen all of these camshaft bolts. These are all 10mm bolts. The only issue is that these two are very close to this plate, obviously. And so I think I managed to turn this one a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can turn this one a little bit using this wrench. Alright. And then the rest of them I'm going to use a breaker bar with a socket. So I want to start with these two, and then do these next. All right, and then it wants to go all the way to here. And then the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy. And then number 6 is the last one. And then, and then the 7th one to undo. So the 6th one to undo is the one at the end. The 7th one to undo is the 3rd one, right? Yes. 7th one to undo is the 3rd one. All right, so these are now like finger loose. Like I can loosen them quite a bit, so I'm pretty confident I could take these all the way off now, but I'm gonna go with the book. It says loosen them a little bit at a time. But you know, see what's on. You can see what's up, measure. Yeah, I'm just gonna loosen them a little bit, no more touching their caps. Right now I'm just taking them all the way off. Alright, so I'm not sure how well taking these out yet. I'll figure that out after I get this off. One of the things Toyota owners appreciate about this engine is the cam caps are all labeled with little indentations to say which position and number they are. Okay, so while this head is in good shape, I am now seeing some evidence of wear. Yeah. Let's look at this. Yeah, these definitely have some wear on them. It's not necessarily a concerning amount. But yeah, like I can feel it as I drag my fingernail across it. As well, looking at the cams or at the bearing races, yeah, these are kind of torn up as well. So again, I think I could probably put it back on the engine and it'd be okay. I'll kind of consult a machinist or you guys can give me your feedback too with that. But yeah, this is definitely a little more. This definitely is showing some wear on it. And it might even be evidence of like an oiling issue or something. So, yeah, I've often seen these show like a lot of wear on them where they're like, honestly, they're discolored, and you know, kind of the discoloration is because they're hitting the valve. The top of the valve, and it's tearing it up, you know. And so these don't have any of that, but these bearings have some evidence of use. And actually, what it probably is this has been oiled pretty well. Yeah, But yeah, these maybe the bearings have not so much. I don't know. We'll see. Let's take the camshaft off now. See if we can. So the bolts on this plate are 10mm heads. Comes off real easy. There's a bunch of crud in this. I'll definitely be cleaning it really good once I've got it taken apart. There's the gasket for the camshaft. Wouldn't say that was the best way to remove a camshaft, but it was basically it was lodged in on this side right there, and this side was literally up. And so I was like, well, if I turn it, honestly, it'd probably come loose. Yeah, looking at it again, it's got wear on it, but it's not the worst. It's not nearly as bad as it could be. Yeah, it's not terrible. All right, now let's do the exhaust side. Alright, so this camshaft honestly looks a little better. Yeah, there's some grooves in it, but it's not as bad as the intake valve one. Yeah. I will also tell you, in case you're wondering how I know which one is which, is the exhaust valve camshaft has this gear on it. That's for the cam position sensor. or the distributor if you're using a naturally aspirated engine. So now I'm going to take off the head bolts, or I'm going to loosen the head bolts. Now I have the manual and it's going to tell me to do them in a specific order. I'll kind of just shout out which one it is. You should be able to get the manual because it is free online. So yeah, if need be, I can post the link for the free version of the manual. But you need to make sure that you take the head bolts off in the correct order, otherwise you can warp the head. So yeah, there's a lot of, even from the factory where they didn't torque them down enough, there's still a lot of torque in here. So so you're gonna want a breaker bar and an H10 socket, okay? Hex, H10 hex socket. First one. And I'm just going to loosen these a little bit at a time. I'm not going to loosen it all the way, just like a turn or so. Maybe not even, might even only be a half turn. It would help if I made sure there wasn't any crap in there. Oh man, yep, these are tight. Oh, jeez. Whoa! Well, I broke my socket in there. Wow. I don't know how tight they made that. Well, I just broke my socket. I can't believe I did that. I thought it would probably be able to do that. I wonder if somebody has tightened these already before. And, you know, that just makes it so that they're that much harder to turn. Yeah, I mean, here's one piece of the socket, and yeah, it's broke. It it took it off pretty cleanly, or it broke it pretty good there. So on the anvil and everything. So I'm gonna need to get a new socket. That might take some time. I'm gonna need to negotiate that with my wife. But yeah, so I'll likely go ahead and post this video undone. And you know, hopefully, you know, next video I'll actually be able to get the head off. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is somebody must have tightened it more, because these are literally known for the head bolts not being tight enough. Which, not tight enough, I think is still 50 pound-feet, which is a good amount. You know, it's not an insignificant torque. But yeah, even with even with that, it's too much. So apparently for my socket, for my Allen socket. So thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, if this video ends now, then I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, guys.